Hi all. Right, welcome back. Enemy Action Kharkov, Soviet Soul, Take 2, Part 63. Right, I was adamant I was going to come in tonight and not come up the stairs. um, but here I am. I had a terrible day yesterday with trying to, regarding the game, with activating, what was it again? Yeah, activating 40 core, realising I made a mistake, redoing it, then Martin pointing out another mistake that I hadn't spotted, redoing it again. And yeah, it was just a bit miserable. I was just about to go to my bed last night, feeling a bit tired and grumpy to be honest. And then after just finishing recording, and well, a wee bit earlier on, and saying, well, that's us. Hopefully, Martin doesn't come back with something else. And of course, I'd uploaded part 61 and 62 earlier on, I think. And yeah, just about to go to my bed, and I thought, well, just look at if there's any other comments. There's Martin again. Spotting another mistake. I'm not getting on to you, Martin, but I just felt like throwing the bloody towel in, honestly. I feel this feels like this game's really harder for me. I feels like I'm making far more mistakes in this game than I did in Ardennes. I'm quite curious to go back and look at some of the comments. I know I made mistakes, and I want to say that, not this as an excuse, I want to say that, yeah, when you're looking back on video footage, I've noticed it myself, it does appear to be easier to spot mistakes. I hadn't watched back on this bit yet either. And you can see when, that's kind of why I don't want to release them. I'd rather spot my own mistakes and point them out. But, I mean, I'm still making a mistake, haven't I? And the whole point is to keep things moving, and then like Sir Martin and anybody else that wants to chime in can say, look, I think that's an error there, and then it can be fixed before I then go on and record more. And yeah, I mean, it all kind of makes sense, but I just feel like I'm having an awful hard time with this, much harder than I did with Ardennes. And I was thinking about it today, thinking, I was actually saying to myself, everybody seems to think that this game is easier than what Enemy Action Ardennes was. I mean, if you look at the rule books as well, I'm sure they're much smaller. I think am I not right in saying the German solo book's a bit heftier? Yeah, it gets into the 51 pages in total, whereas this is only 43, I think. I think that might have been somewhere in Ardennes. I feel like I'm finding this just as hard a game. I'm not so sure. I think some of the ways things are set out are better. I think the rule books are better. I think it's more streamlined. I don't think it's easier. I don't know. I mean, maybe it is just me. For instance, this error that I've made here, maybe it's because this is just freshly pointed out to me, but there's far more. There was none of this moving a unit to remove units from dangerous surround. I'm pretty sure that was not even a thing in Ardennes. And I think when I seen it happen here, I thought, well, that makes sense. It's good that they're doing more to do it. But that's quite hard to spot all that. And maybe I'm bringing this up because this is the mistake I made here. But there's so much to look at, and okay, well, you could simply say, if you looked at the preferences grant, it might not have been as, I had 3 cubes marked down here. Did I need to have lots of cubes? Could I not just looked at the preferences being position hexes and went from there maybe and made it easier on myself? I don't know. I do feel like I'm having a harder time with this game than I did previously with Ardennes. So I don't know. It might not be the case. It might be just the same. I'm not so sure it's easier. It's an easier game. There's two I've not played the German solo yet, but this is a Soviet solo game. Seems to me to be, a really tough game to get everything right, got all these AI moves perfect. I mean, the one when I was watching back, Martin pointing out that the mistake that I made, and then I thought, well, but wait a minute now, Martin. And two bits I looked at, I thought, no, he's got this wrong. And then I looked again more closely, carefully, and I thought, no, he's got that one right. And then I says, oh, but that's wrong. I'm still okay here. And then it turns out it's just to spot all these things. Yeah, there's no way Mr. Butterfield could play this without doing some of this. No way. It's not even a challenge anymore. It would never happen. I just can't believe it. Yeah, and I just got frustrated last night, and I was just going to my bed, and I was a bit grumpy about it, and I was like, we're getting all these mistakes wrong. Here's another one, and look at the amount of hexes that you've got to consider. What I was trying to do. Well, yeah, yeah. And then I got up today and felt a bit fresher, and I thought, well, okay, it's another one that's going to... But, okay, so this guy moved from here to here, and he shouldn't have. Martin says he should go, I think it's here. And it is, because, let's just go through it again. Yeah, so just looking back, it was to remove dangerous round from a gym unit and rather go fully into it, because I do spend some time, and that's what I think frustrated me more. I looked at it, spent enough time working out who was in dangerous around and what the move had to be. I mean, I worked out that this unit moving, what is it? Have I got them in the wrong position? I think I haven't I? How is that then? Did he move up? Right, give me a sec. Right, just as well looked at that. These were the other way about. So this unit must have made a move as well, right enough. He must have moved from here to here then, I'm assuming. I can't remember how it all worked. I'm just looking back over it just now. Okay, so we realised these were all in dangerous round, all these units. And then we're looking at a way out. And I without going fully into it... Right, hang on. Hi all. Right, this is a continuation of part 63. I recorded that a little bit. It's probably almost a week ago now, that first 6 or 7 minutes that is on here. I was going to just start again, but I thought I'd leave it in. I had to watch it back at first because I was a little bit grumpy at the time when I came to it. I never really got the chance to continue after that, and been kind of busy with work, and I suppose initially with just keep making mistakes again down here again, it just put a little damper on. But to be honest, it was more work, and I've been itching to get back the last 2 or 3 days, and work's just not really been a great option for me to do it. So I'm here and I'm ready to go again. Quite a few things I'd like to talk about though. Well, first of all, and partly the reason I left that first bit in, I was getting frustrated about mistakes, and I think I mentioned Mr. Butterfield again about challenging him to play the game without error or something. Or in fact, no, did I not decide it's impossible? He couldn't do it anyway. Well, I'm not having a go at anything here, but he recently released I think initially released a sort of learn to play enemy action Kharkov 2-player, but I believe I did watch that. I think I watched through that before I got the game. Well, I recently just released again. It's on that is it Mo's Game Table? Mo's Game Table? I think so. And he released a learn to play the German solo, which is what I'm playing and what I know the most between the 3 sets of games. And there's a lot of people been playing the German solo, and I've been watching some of that stuff as well. But this is the one I probably know more about. So I thought, okay, Mr. Butterfield, let's have a look. And Yeah, well, let's just say not everything was flawless. So it made me feel a bit better about things that even the main man himself can get some things wrong. And one of them are particular. Actually, I didn't mean to go back and have a look at it again just in case I'd got it wrong. But there was one that he missed a dangerous around situation, and a unit was in dangerous around, and he missed it. Like I say, I think that's been the biggest one that's caught me in this game. And I'm getting the impression it's because there's much more space. With Ardennes, it was difficult to get roundabout units, but now you've got an extra movement point as well with the mechanised units. Because in Ardennes, I think I've talked about this before. Ardennes, it was all 5, and now these are all 6s. But it's all clear terrain as well. You know, it's quite easy to get round the back, and I think that's maybe what can throw you sometimes, that you can look closer and you need to actually look further away to see it. Anyway, it was kind of nice to see in a way that there was 2 or 3 mistakes that I noticed anyway, and a couple of things talked about wrong, but then I do that as well. Sometimes you talk wrong, or you check the movement of something and not see it. But it made me feel a little bit better that the mistakes I'm making, you know, it's not going to be just me, and I know that. Okay, so but it's well worth watching if you want to try and learn the game as well, because there's nothing. When I'm talking about mistakes, I'm really trying to find something. You know, it's not that it's not worth watching. It is indeed. So yeah, that was that. And so there's a few things I've actually looked back on. I've got around, because at that time, I've eventually got around to watching through all my video footage. Like I say, I've been throwing them out there and just letting you have a look rather than wait until I've reviewed them all, because I mean, I've been through all that as well. It just takes far too long. Right, couple of things I've noticed. A couple of mistakes that I made that Martin didn't pick up, and nobody else seemed to spot, so hopefully I've got them right. I double checked them. This unit here, a long time ago, I've got a wee bit of paper written down with some things written down on it, because I thought it might have placed its IP, because it's outside the Soviet support line. And I thought at first it might have placed the IP before the Soviet support kicked in. I think it from turn 5 it kicks in. Well, that's not the case. I looked back on the footage, and it was back in part 45 that this unit built its IP. And was it the first Guards unit that built it? I'm not so sure it was, because I think the first Guards unit moved along here. So I think it was Popov that built it, and then however, it should never have been allowed to build that IP, because it was outside Soviet support, and well, it states in the rules you can't build an IP on a unit that's not in Soviet support. So I'm pretty sure that's right. So I'm taking it off now. So unless I hear otherwise, it didn't have any effect on things. I thought it might have had some effect when we messed this attack on this 1 strength first Guard unit down here, but he was still the weakest. And let's just hang on a sec. Just score these off my bit of paper as I tell you about them, so that I realise I know that I've done it. And yeah, and while I'm talking about that first that first 1 strength unit, how did I not see that? I was watching back in the footage, and I actually moved down here adjacent to it, don't I? Because we're attacking here. The 1 strength unit's in here, and I move a unit to here to attack here. The attack comes from these 2 hexes, and he's sitting there staring me in the face. And yeah, he's got a blue cube on top of him as an IP, and whether it was that or not, I don't know. But it was just, I don't know how I missed it. But anyway, how I didn't see it, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I was wanting to just mention that again because I was frustrated. The other mistake that I noticed, and I'm pretty sure I made it, was I drew an artillery combat tactic when we had, actually, yeah, it was a major offensive we had in play, which supplies intelligence and artillery. And the combat tactic drawn was artillery, so it doesn't count. And while we're on that, yeah, but I'll just finish this first, Grant. Don't get yourself confused. So the tactic I drew was artillery as well. So I said, okay, that doesn't apply. I can't use that again because it does say in the rules for this game, it does say that if you get a match in combat tactic, it doesn't count. You don't get a chip pool. You don't get artillery twice. I mean, that doesn't make sense. But as far as I can remember, in the enemy action or den, you would have got an extra chip pool for that second artillery. But they changed that within this game. You don't get that. However, the card was a shuffle back into the deck, and I don't think I've shuffled it back in. I don't mention shuffling it back in, although you don't see anything. I'm pretty sure I missed it. It's going back too far. It was back. That was part 50. No. Actually, I can't remember when it was. I've not got a part written down there, but it was back. It was back in the last turn, anyway. So we've shuffled things up in that sense. So there's nothing I can do about that one. Just need to try and. I think it's when I got distracted thinking about other things, and I think that's how it happened. Right, and yeah, just while briefly, and I think I've maybe gone over this before again as well, but why have they changed it so you don't benefit from the chip pool within the Soviet solo, and yet in the German solo you still do? I can't remember if in Ardennes it was slightly different. I don't think it was. Yeah, I just wanted to find the bit in the rules, and this is looking at the German solo rules, by the way, on page 31, and I know we're not talking about that game, but I believe I might have spoken about this before, and I might have even read this out to you before, so apologies if I'm repeating myself. 12.3, combat tactics, and there's 4 steps here about when you can draw combat tactics. And step 3 is draw 1 card from the Soviet deck. This is when Soviets are attacking in the German solo game, right? Draw 1 card from the Soviet deck and apply any combat tactics listed on the card. Add a combat chip draw to the attack for each tactic on the card, even if that tactic does not otherwise apply to the attack. There you go. Why have they done that? I'm just not sure. I'm wondering if maybe that shouldn't be. But anyway, okay, well that's another one just while we're at it. Right, what else was there? I made notes of some of these in the headers, by the way. I think I probably made notes of the IP. I think I made a note of that when it happened. So I've got timestamps for that. And also from the artillery card that I drew, I think I've got a timestamp for that. And the other one was when we activated, I used the Stavka, was it Stavka or was it the Southwest Front card? I think it was the Southwest Front card. And I activated Popov, and I talked about there was 1st Guards unit stacked with Popov, and there was also a 6th Army unit stacked with Popov. Fortunately, well, it wouldn't have mattered about the 6th Army units, but the 1st Guards Army units had actually been activated impulse previously. So, and I'm pretty sure this is right, that if I had a Popov unit stacked with the 1st Guards unit, played the Southwest Front card, and the 1st Guards had been activated the previous impulse, and I then played the Southwest Front card to activate Popov, and then Southwest Front Army unit stacked with Popov, then this 1st Guards unit wouldn't be allowed to do anything. Fortunately in that, I talked about them being active, but I didn't actually move them, and even the 6th Army unit I didn't. However, at the end of the impulse, I actually put out all these as being, these would all have been activated, and in actual fact, the 1st Guards, because they had been activated the previous impulse, they wouldn't have been allowed to be activated again, so they wouldn't have been activated. But there was no harm done with that as such, but I just thought I'd point out, and I'm pretty sure I've put that in the header as well. But that's it, it's just some things that I've seen. 1st Guards, yeah, that's what that was about, right, okay. Yeah, and I mean, again, going back to this, well, I don't need to harp on anymore about this though, but army, not core, Grant, army. Anyway, read the card, yeah. I pointed that wee bit out to my mate Liam, he was having a chuckle at it. So, right, these are going back in here. I'd left shits out the cup because that was when I wasn't sure what I was doing. Okay, and a couple other things just to, I know this part is like, yeah, I wanted to just bring this one up. Now, it was up here. Now, it was an attack that I'd made, and if you recall, it was in here somewhere. And the attack was just outside Soviet support by 1 hex. However, the attackers were in Soviet support, the defender was not in Soviet support. Now, if you read, when you're looking at that within an attack, yeah, when you're looking at that, page 39, 14.52, effects of unsupported Soviet units. Unsupported attack. A Soviet attack in which all the participating Soviet units and the German defenders are in hexes outside Soviet support is considered unsupported if at least one attacking unit or the German defenders are in a hex in Soviet support, the attack is supported. So that's saying that if these were in support and that was not in support, not in the support line, that's still a supported attack. And it's the same with defence. Unsupported defence, Soviet units defending in a hex outside Soviet support against a German attack. No, it's not the same, is it? Unsupported defence, Soviet units defending in a hex outside Soviet support against a German attack are considered unsupported. Yeah, I can't. I thought there was something else I was going to talk about there. Right, okay. But you see what I'm saying about the attack? If this was the attacked hex, however, these guys were in support and this was not in support, it still counts as being in support. And it got me wondering about the time I was up there and we were checking the Panzer Battalion combat tactic. I mean, I'm not getting away with this, I know, because the way it's worded is quite clear. But I just thought I'd bring it up because I thought, oh, hang on, if we're attacking there, that Panzer Battalion combat tactic, and let me just read the what it does. Well, it says 5+ Panzer Battalion, right? Now, I know, it says if the attacked hex, right? So I should just shut up there and move on, right? Okay. If the attacked hex is not in Soviet support, disregard the first hit incurred by the Germans. So that's what I took that, and they did get a hit reduced to them. But when I was watching it back, I thought, well, hang on, we were in support. But, however, the wording on the combat tactic does actually say if the attacked hex is not in Soviet support, and the attacked hex was not in Soviet support. But I just thought I'd bring it up because it's kind of clashes a little bit with, but I can understand that. I maybe just should not have even mentioned that one, but there you go. So that was that. Right, and then the last one, which I've actually just posted a question on BGG because I thought it was worthy of a question to see what anybody's thoughts were about it. Because I found this a little bit odd. And it's kind of strange because I don't know if we can look at it down here somewhere. Yeah, I probably can look at it here somewhere. It's kind of strange because I was recently been watching Michael. Oh God, he's started a German solo playthrough. I can't remember his. It's got a different YouTube channel. What is it, Mike Book Lover or something like that? I think he's Greek. I want to say you're Greek, Michael, because I'm pretty sure your other stuff has been in Greek language. So he's not, obviously English isn't his first language, but going by what some of you think of me, I'm sure you maybe don't think English is my first language as well. It is, but, well, Scottish, you know, it does seem to be catching a lot of yous out, but I don't know what I can do about that. Put subtitles on the YouTube when you're watching it. Maybe that might help. Whether that'll pick it all up or no, I don't know. Anyway, I was watching his stuff. Um, Very good, very slow and careful. He's doing it short bits at a time. German solo. I don't know if you're planning on going right through it all, Michael, but it's going to take him some time. Now, don't. I'm not having a knock. If you've watched any of my videos, you know what are we on, part 63 here, and I'm taking forever. You think this is never going to end? So I'm not having a knock at that. I'm just saying he's very slow and taking it careful, and doing it right. And obviously he's trying to explain everything in English, and it's not his first language. But you're making a good job of it, Michael. And the good thing to me is he's taking care with the rules. He's wanting to be following the rules carefully, and that's great. So I was watching some of that, and it was really strange because this is something I wrote down to talk about, and the situation arose in his game. And now he's playing German solo, I'm playing Soviet solo, but this and the question that I've just posted, I'll just pop across before I stop talking about this, just in case there's some reply to it. This is it's the same rule in both games. And what it is, it's about it's about advancing, but it's about moving into towns and cities, right? But in particular, advancing. Hang on. Right, sorry, I had my phone on. I don't know if you heard all that or not. But, actually, give me a sec. I'll need to go and check that. I got a text message, so I better go and check that. Well, I'll do that before I start talking about this, and I can find the page that I'm looking for as well. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, cheers. Right, hi all, back again. I just copied that bit across as well while I was only paused for a wee bit there. Yeah, I actually got a reply back to my sort of query about this. But I'll tell you what it is. So, towns and cities, right, it says, and we've talked about this before, a unit must stop moving or advancing upon entering an enemy town or city, causing the town or city to immediately become friendly owned. Now, we've talked about this before, and I've realised that obviously you can't just go strolling through an enemy town or city. You know, you can't just move. Let's not think about zones of control or anything like that. If this pop-off unit, if this is German controlled, and he wants to go through here, he can't just go doom, 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 doom. You know, he's got to stop as soon as he enters there. Then it becomes owned by the Soviets. Then the next unit can do that, can move through. However, what I found odd was it also applies when you're advancing after combat. Now, that's all right for yourself controlling your units, because if I'm advancing after combat, I'm going to say, well, I'm not going to advance this 6 movement mechanised unit into here first and have it stop. What I'm going to do is I'll advance this infantry in here, take ownership of the town, and then advance the sorry, it doesn't matter about 6 movement, I'm talking about advancing after combat. So if you've got a 2 hex advance, is what I mean, then I'm clearly going to advance infantry and then advance the mechanised unit. He gets to advance twice. However, if this is the AI, and like I also commented in my post, this actually applies to all 3 games as well. It doesn't really apply to the 2-player game because you get to choose, but it applies to the German solo as well. And this is the situation I noticed in Michael's playthrough that just happened to coincide with me wanting to bring this up. And what he done was he obviously advanced his he was moving the AI, and the AI advanced into the town, and then it had a second advance because the unit was eliminated, or path of retreat was there, and then he advanced at second hex. Well, you can't do that. Is what I'm saying is it has to stop. The first unit has to stop. So, and generally, your first unit to advance, you go in selector number, and you can see this is a unit selector number 1. And I know I'm talking about Soviet units here, and we're in the but I think you get what I'm talking about. This unit has to check for advance first, so that it then say it automatically advances because it's a VP town, takes the town, but then can't advance that second hex. Right, so I thought it was a bit odd. Put it out there, not as a question, just as thoughts. Martin's came back and said it's a slight disadvantage to the AI. Fair enough. What he has said is generally you're going to have 2 or 3 units advancing. So whereas this one's going to advance and have to stop, these next 2 mechanized units are going to advance. So they're going to get to advance 2 hexes. So it's maybe just another one of the ones that's, it's. I suppose I'm maybe thinking more into it than what it needs to be. It's a little bit odd, but how could you deal with that within the rules? How could you instruct the AI to because if you were doing it yourself, you'd do what I said. You'd advance this infantry and then advance your mechanized units through your now newly owned town, and be able to advance 2 hexes. But anyway, that's a fair reply though, Martin. I'll just go with that one. Oh yeah, right. There's one more thing then, which nobody brought to my attention. Come on, guys, what happened here? Which this is why I'm a little reluctant to answer questions on BGG because I'm frightened to get them wrong. And okay, was it Mark or Mike? I think it was Mike, maybe. Just asked a question recently about going through a card. He couldn't find anything to do on the card. It was the beginning of the game. Do you draw action card? The unit was surrounded. If you go in BGGs, you'll see the question. The unit's surrounded and he can't do nothing with it, and he's looking at the card. He's thinking, I can't do anything with this unit. Do I still draw the action cards? And I've been through all that bit and I realised that he did draw the action cards. And what I then explained to him was that if you can't carry out an action at all for the unit, once you've been through all the cards, you then move on to the next command on the card. And if you can't carry out any commands on the actual card that you've drawn for the impulse, you draw another card. Okay, that's all good. However, the bit that I added was that even, and this is what I thought, even if you draw 2 action cards and one of them enables you to place a garrison somewhere, then I tried to say to him that still didn't count as an action. Well, I've got that one wrong, and I'm sure I spoke about this, guys, and I've even said this in my reply to, because John Butterfield came and put me straight with this one. But I'm surprised nobody mentioned it to me. I can only think that I must have got lucky. That's just what I've said, that I got lucky, and if I ever did place a garrison within a German action card, that I must also have done something with a unit, because I wouldn't have classed that as an action. I kind of thought that was not. You had to actually activate one of the units, and that's, to me, I do that when a unit's had it's done something, right? It had to actually do something. But me placing a garrison here through one of an action cards and not doing anything with that unit, I would have then thought that I need to then move on and go on to the next instruction on the card. So I can only think I've either got lucky and that's never came about, or you guys that are watching it thought the same as me. However, John has come back and said that no, that's and he points to two bits that it says it in the rules. The very first bit, I'd be surprised if Martin didn't know this one, so I can only think I've got lucky. So page 17, rule 10, the second paragraph and the very first sort of description of it. If after checking all action steps, no units actually perform an action, or no garrison markers were placed. There you go, I don't need to read anymore. So that actually covers it. That says to you, and also John highlights, what is it? 10.3 is it? German action terminology. What is the terminology? What does it mean, action? Well, action is during a German activation, a set of instructions in an action step or action card involving a German unit, group of units, or garrison, such as unit movement, unit relocation, combat, garrison placement, IP placement, or dispersal removal. How have I not sort of registered that? And I can't believe Martin, who does most of the commenting on my playthroughs, didn't know that. So, have I spoke about that before? I'm pretty sure I have. I'm pretty sure I was under the impression that placing a garrison that way did not count as an action. I can only think I must have just got lucky with it, but I'm sure I spoke about it. I did apologise to, Mark, I can't remember what it was, that I'm kind of leading me astray and I had to be put straight by Mr. Butterfield himself. But John Butterfield came back and says no apologies necessary. It's not consistent throughout the rulebook. It doesn't really explain it in both the sequence of play and also on the player aids. Now we know the player aids are getting condensed a bit. John spoke about this before. How do you squeeze 43 pages into 8 pages of player aids? I've said it all before, but it's not in the sequence of play properly as well. So he was trying to tell me that no apology was necessary because of that. But I still kind of feel like I should have got that one. So I don't know. I don't know what if you all knew that and I just got lucky throughout that process. Obviously, only these things are generally going to happen pretty early on in the game. Once things open up, then you're usually going to be doing something and you can forget about that worry. But I'm pretty sure I spoke about all this, guys, and not one of you have let me know about it. So I'm a bit disappointed there. Right? Okay. Right, I'm kidding. I'm just messing with yours. Right, okay, so we've got a mistake here, haven't we? Yeah. Yeah, now did I put things back right in the end? So getting back to this, and I'm going to do this again. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to make mistakes anymore, right? You've heard me say that, right? You can timestamp that bit in the video and just highlight it to me if I make a mistake again. No, I mean, it just what I need to do, right? What I need to do, and I want to talk about what I'm doing and what my thinking is. And I mean, I dare say some of you might switch off, but it's how I want to play the game. Because if you weren't watching this, I'd be talking to myself, saying, right, that could go there, that could go there. Is that in dangerous around there? I'd be talking to myself. That's what I do when I play the game. So I kind of want to do that. It makes it flow for me, but I think there has to come a moment when I'm making some decisions that I do need to just pause the camera and just sort of say to myself, right, Grant, let's just look at this now without the camera rolling, and then put it back on and then say, right, but this is a lower position number, which is, it says it it's one of the preferences, and I'm reading them, and I highlighted these 3 hexes to think, why did I not look at this hex? Or even that, I think, did I look at this one? Maybe, because that's 108, but it obviously doesn't remove dangerous. It's removing dangerous around from this unit, isn't it? I think it's a bit of a strange one. It's quite tricky, and I was quite happy with my result. And then Martin pointed out the obvious one that I'd missed, and then I felt like, you were happy with that, Grant, were you? And then I felt a bit foolish and thought, it wasn't that difficult to work out that that's a lower number than that, Anyway, right. Well, can we just move on now? I think that's everything I wanted to yak about, really. So I'm going to try and then pause at times when I'm making decisions like this and just look it over myself, and rather than, because it is easy. I think I spoke the very first 6 or 7 minutes at the beginning of this part 63 that I recorded about a week ago or something. I think I did say that it is very much easier than it's very much easier watching back somebody's playthrough and spotting a mistake than what it is to actually spot it yourself while you're doing it. Because I even spot mistakes back, like I say, when I watch my own videos back, I see them and then I can correct them. And I think that's possibly why I didn't have as many mistakes in Ardennes. I could be wrong with that. You know what? I could look back over them and realise that I had just as many or more, maybe. It just doesn't feel like it to me. But I think with Ardennes, I did review back every bit of video footage myself before uploading it, and that enabled me to spot more mistakes just by myself, you know. So anyway, right, okay, right, let's move on and try and play the game again, really. Okay, so I was just double checking again there that nothing from part 62, because we did have another German impulse and a Soviet impulse. This was the German impulse, but none of that would have affected. And our Soviet impulse, I think, you know what, I can't remember what it was. Was it third tank? I can't remember what it was. I'm pretty sure it was over that area somewhere. So it was nothing to affect that. And I remember looking back on it when Martin pointed the error out, because this error was in part 61, and then we had part 62 as well. But it didn't affect this, so I'm going to go back. That's how these units were sitting. And I'm going to go right back, and I'm just going to go through this again. I just noticed a wee bit in me commenting, oh, I felt really good about that. That's a good placement. And I'm like, no, it's not, Grant. You've got it wrong. You fool. Okay, so I'm going to carry out this impulse again, and I know it's backtracking a little bit, but I think all that's going to happen is this unit's going to go here, and I think this unit goes somewhere else. I'm not sure. Martin actually tells me exactly where they go, but I'm no way to just read what he said. I'm wanting to like do it and understand it. So, but I don't think it's that difficult. It's just me just missing bits, you know. Yeah, so just double checking where we were there and what it was the major offensive, and this was the second activation in these guys, wasn't it? That's what it was. And yeah, we'd fixed the attack down here and whatever. So we had drawn the 2 action cards and none of them did anything. So we then moved on, right, to action step 5, which is move to hex. It removes dangerous round from a German unit in a hex in Soviet support, or enable supply trays from a German occupied hex. And this is in descending order. So I'm looking at this guy, and this is where this guy moves. Whoops, he is reduced. It's where this guy moves from here to here, and it takes me a while to work it out, because it's actually this guy that we're enabled to get dangerous round from. And I'm just going to look again and just see, because looking at that just like that, you've got to try and move things about and work it out. Okay, so that's what I end up with, and it is this guy in here, and this is the sort of strange bit about it, that it's this guy here that we are able to stop surround. Right just now, don't imagine the cubes aren't there, obviously. These units can all move, these units can both move across here, and all of these units are surrounded. This guy's sorry, he's dangerous around as well, but I don't think we can stretch up to reach him, can we? Was that true? 1, 2, 3, 4. I must have looked at that too, I'm guessing. I'm not so sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, he probably could, but here's the thing, right? It doesn't tell you what unit. It even, I don't believe, tells you that if you can take dangerous round from more than one unit, that would be a preference. I don't think that's right. Am I right? So it's move to hex, removes dangerous round from German unit in hex and Soviet support, or enables supply trace from German occupied hex. Well, supply is not an issue for any of the units, but all the units are in dangerous round, right? So now let's just read the preferences, Grant. Let's just think. I mean, if I can put in a hex that's going to remove dangerous round from 2 units, is that a preference that I want to be looking at? Well, no, it's no. The first preference is lowest numbered position hex. So if I can move this unit into a position hex, that's where I want to go. So I can forget about all these. I can forget about them. Now, I end up going there because I select these 3 and this is a position hex. And the blinkers are already up. You know, the blinkers are just looking at 1-2 sacks position there. Right, so now I'm pretty sure I already look at this hex, to be honest, to start with. So, because if this unit moves here, that does not stop this unit from being dangerous round, because one of these units can go 1, 2, 3 into here, exerting a zone of control into there, and this guy's still surrounded, right? So 108 is not an option. But what about we 114 down there, Grant? Yeah, what about it? Which is lower than 126? Well, let's check. Oops, I'm determined to flip that guy about a lot. Well, let's check 114 then. That's where he was. So if I put that unit there, right, if I move that unit there, I'll just take that away just now. Can this guy still be surrounded? 1, 2, right, or 1, 2, 3. So we can get a Soviet unit into here, 1, 2, 3. Now, does that surround that guy? No, he's got an out hex here. He can move from here to here. That Soviet unit could be there, exerting zone of control into these 2 hexes. And this one exerts into here. There's no zone of control exerted into this hex, so he has an out with this guy moving here. Now, he also has the same by moving there. So if we move that there, the Soviet unit, well, they can't move at all. And I think that's the one that threw me, the fact that that locks both the units in. They can't get anywhere near us here. And in actual fact, could it be that that hex does actually remove dangerous round from more than just this unit? Because this unit I don't think is in dangerous round. Whereas this hex here, maybe not though, 1, 2, 3, yeah, see, if I go here, this unit's still in dangerous round, and this one's not. But whereas if I go there, none of them are in dangerous round, and not even that one, is it? So that hex actually, and maybe that was my thinking, the fact that it removes dangerous round for all 3 of them. Well, that's not a preference. All I needed to do was lowest position hex. Now, a red position hex, and I'm sitting here thinking, well, there you go, 1, 2, 6. Why not think outside the box, Grant, a little bit and say, which is the lowest position hex? So it's here. So he should have moved to here from there. So that was, oh dear me, flipping that guy over the place. So he's moving out of zone of control. So 1, 2, 3 into there. That now removes dangerous round from this unit. This guy's still surroundable. So is this guy. And 1, 2, 3, I believe so is this guy. Yeah, but this guy is not, and that is the lowest position hex, and that's the important bit. That's the lowest position hex. Okay, so now moving next, we've already said that him, and I'm assuming this is where Martin ends up, because he talks about this unit moving somewhere else as well. I end up moving this unit in here. I mean, bear in mind I've got this guy in here, and I think I moved him into here adjacent to a Soviet unit. I think was step 8? If not adjacent, move adjacent to a Soviet unit. I think that's how I end up moving him, but I get the feeling we're going to find another place for this guy to go that might remove dangerous round from. Now remember, he's not trying to remove it from himself. He's got to remove it from another unit. So this guy's okay now. So he's more than likely he's looking at these 2. Can he remove dangerous round from any of these 2? And I would think he probably can. Now he is in a VP hex, but as long as nothing becomes proximate to that, it's not going to break any restriction. So, I mean, I suppose my initial thinking, it could be 108 because this guy's moved here. It may be, or it could be 126 again. So let's just have a look. I'm just going to pause again and have a look. Okay, so just having a look there. So that's where Unit 17 is. Sorry, that's not where Unit 17 is. It's here. And I thought, let's try and move on to 108. Does that remove dangerous surround from this guy? No, it does not. This unit can still move into here. Zone of control, zone of control. This guy exerts zone of control. This guy's surrounded. So that is obviously not the right move. So my guess is going to be, it's going to be 126 now with this guy then. So 1, 2, 3. So if he moves there, that does indeed remove dangerous surround from this guy. 1, 2. It might even remove it from this guy as well, I think. But again, this is irrelevant. But all I needed to do there was move on. Look at what I'm trying to do, and then just read on a bit. Let's just look at the preferences. Let's look at them, because if there's multiple hexes, Grant, let's break it down right away. Let's not have cubes scattered all over the map. Let's have cubes in the first preference, you know. So you know, I should have cubes maybe. I should have a cube here and here, you know, because they were both position hexes, and maybe I could have had one there and then realised, okay, that's not breaking dangerous around for NN, so take that one away, you know. So my guess is that guy goes there. I'm going to double check with what Martin actually wrote though, just in case. Yeah, it is indeed. It's hex 260212, position hex 126. So there you go. So that would have been their movement. Unit 15. I mean, Unit 15 would then be considered next, but you got to remember he's surrounding this unit, so he doesn't want to break that restriction. The only units we've now got in dangerous surround, in fact, no, have we got any? Yeah, I think that, because did I not say that removes it from that as well? Because this guy would have to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's not surrounding that unit, so. And this move removes dangerous surround from, well, it removes it from both of these guys. This one was already removed. And yeah, moving out of this VP hex does not break a restriction. They're not moving into dangerous surround themselves. Bearing in mind they were in dangerous surround. That one's also outside the supply zone. The support zone, sorry. So yeah, so 15 can't do anything regarding that. 7, well, there's nothing to remove from dangerous surround now, so I would move on to the next step, which is move proximate to empty Soviet hex if not already proximate. No, that's not going to happen. Move to a hex that causes a surround of a Soviet unit. Again, in descending order. Well, this guy's already surrounding. And in fact, am I not right in saying that this guy's got surround as well, and all these are surrounded, aren't they? Yeah, because these guys are here. So these 3 units are kind of locked into not being able to make any kind of movement, really. And then step 8 is not, if not adjacent to a Soviet unit, move closer to nearest Soviet unit. Well, they're all adjacent to Soviet units. So that indeed was the last part of that impulse, and yeah, there you go. Nice and easy, Grant. That, yeah. Okay, well, I just, again, need to pay a bit more attention. Like, look at things a bit carefully. I mean, when you look at it that way, and when I look at a preference, rather than just jumping in there and saying, right, I've got to remove dangerous surround from, what am I removing it from? Look at a preference, try and break it down, make it easier for yourself, you know. Anyway, right, okay. So that happened. We had another impulse. Then the Germans played the 57. I can't remember exactly what happened, but there was no comments on that part, so must have got it right. Hooray! Yeah. Well, what I think I might do is I think I've probably yacked on enough here, and there's not been a bit footage for you to look at, so it's not really going to contain much game. In fact, yeah, I think I'll post something in the header saying there's not actually any new gameplay, just some fixes and some rants and some chats and things like that. And but it's pretty late tonight as well. That's me off over the weekend though, so hopefully I might get the chance to do a little bit. Yeah, so hopefully be back tomorrow with some actual real gameplay. Okay guys, cheers.